Okay then guys, today I have my very good friend James Monk. He's come to visit me at my house in Hertfordshire. We're going to be discussing the state of dating in 2026. Me personally, I'm someone who was never really good with girls. I was quite overweight, and having the transition from being someone that was probably a bit of a nice guy, couldn't get anywhere with girls, being someone who does okay, it's been a great transition. It's been really motivating, so I'm really excited to talk about it today.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because we both come from like similar backgrounds in that, I didn't get many girls when I was younger.
Yeah.
I don't know if you did or if you didn't. But then growing into a position where you're working on yourself and suddenly you're around more women and realising, as we were saying earlier, that the state of dating now, you think that like there's these high value women around because people also look at high value men until you actually see one and realise that the levels to the game of dating and how like 95% of women are just like the same as 95% of guys are, and that they're not very attractive in their personality as much as they are their looks.
I mean, like the thing is, from like a young guy's perspective, a lot of it is an information problem because a lot of young guys don't have fathers. I never had a father growing up, and the ones that do, most of the fathers are just deadbeats. They're not good role models. So young guys are really left in the lurch. Young guys are feminised now, and I mean, you've got the information out there. You've got the red pill stuff, which, in my opinion, doesn't set the best example. When people get asked, oh, what is a high value man? What is a high value woman? Straight away they say Russian model, Ukrainian model.
Yeah.
Why have they said that? It's because they've seen some guy on a Red Pill podcast sat with 2 paid models and instantly they want that.
Yeah.
Like, this content's socially engineered to create certain desires to sell them a course. So I think it really is an information problem. And that is why I'm doing this whole content stuff now, because unfortunately I've sort of had to learn it the hard way. But on the other side, I've had really well-respected guys around me to sort of show me the ropes, and I'm lucky in that respect.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? Because you see all like the high value man stuff, which I know you've got an issue with because you did a video on it the other day, which I very much agree. And you see like high value man is associated with Andrew Tate. And so a lot of the guys, and guys are always the issue with these things because it's the guys that dictate the supply, or rather the demand for the women, and the women either like drop to the quality of the supply, or they raise their game if guys have higher standards. But guys have standards so low now because of the whole Andrew Tate stuff. And like you say, it's through that a high value woman is like Botox, lip filler, a rhinoplasty, nose jobs, facelifts, boob and arse lifts or whatever they have. And it's so like inauthentic versus what I think a high value man and woman actually is. It's just an authentic guy, like a community family guy who cares about himself, helps the old lady across the road like we can see out there.
Yeah.
Like this environment to me is way more high value man aligned and also high value woman aligned because they go hand in hand than what a Dubai is or what, any of these other like Bucharest or whatever, right?
No, absolutely. But here is where I take issue with these terms like high value man, high value woman, etc., etc. You could have a guy in Bucharest and that sort of model aesthetic would be quite appealing, and that's not wrong. And like, you could live in certain parts of the UK, and you could be around certain cultures, and that girl with Botox might be the sort of attractive girl, the girl you want to be with. And like us personally, we want girls with good values, who are polite, interested in the same things that we are, and that's not wrong either. So the guys that are watching this that maybe aren't sort of interested in the same things as us, you're not wrong. I mean, I create my content in a way to sort of look at your own life, see your own needs, your own desires, and create a plan, reverse engineer what you want, and create that life. Because there's no textbook way to do this kind of stuff.
And that's what we were discussing earlier, wasn't it? It's like everyone gets into the online space as they do, as we did in like 2020, 2021 with the Hamza stuff.
Yeah.
And people see it and they're like, they see a subgenre of like old money or this, that, and the other, or whatever it might be. They think, right, I have to learn all those principles and do that to a T, and I can't be like a bit of that and a bit of that and a bit of that. They see it like a subgenre, they go for it. Like they go for, I'm the meditator, I'm the book reader, or like I'm the old money guy, or like I'm the fuckboy, and they do all of those principles and actually go away from what their identity and what they actually want to do.
Because here's the way I see it. If every young guy, they're like a blank canvas. They've got no like exceptional skills. They've been raised the same way, so they're a blank canvas. these guys start watching Hamza or Andrew Tate, any of these guys, and let's say Hamza, for example, he says to do the 5 habits. What were the habits he used to preach? It was like meditation, reading, learning, exercise,
gratitude
journaling.
Yeah.
If you guys only do those things for the next 5 years, surely these guys are just going to be the exact same person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've been part of these networking groups, and that theory has manifested. Like, these guys are the same, and they've got nothing outside of that, because like the way I see it, like I've always had these sort of urges. I've always been quite artistic. Always been into my music, theatre, and like when I was a part of that self-improvement space, not that it's a bad thing, I really neglected those things. Only over the last couple of years, I've started researching philosophy again, playing piano, things like that, and it's just made me a lot more talkative. It's just quite funny how as soon as I start putting more effort into those areas of my life, I've attracted a higher caliber of woman, and I've really become more talkative. I couldn't have a conversation like that, I mean, a couple of years ago. I remember we actually did a podcast, how long ago now?
The one in Granada?
Yeah.
18 months ago?
18 months ago. Oh, I think already this is a better conversation than back then. I think that was a good podcast, honestly. But I think we've got a lot more to talk about now, just because of how our lives have aligned and our interests, and just putting effort into different areas of our life.
Yeah, but it's like you said, I'm very big on, people say work and gym, but I think the third pillar is just well-roundedness. And I think as much as you need to go to work to make money, and that's so important, and as much as you need to go to the gym to have the physique, you also need to be the person who, like you say, plays the piano, does the whole hobbies that they have, is able to talk to women about conversations and topics that they too want to discuss. Because the issue is, otherwise you go up to women and you try and talk to them, but if all you do is work and gym, then you can't talk to them about anything. Like, you talk to them about bicep curls, you talk to them about your like SaaS business or whatever you do. You don't have anything that actually makes them attracted to you, because you can't talk to them. And so when you go and do the things that you actually want to do, like be it learning history, geography, philosophy, politics, whatever it is, that instantly is more aligned with the topic that they can too discuss with you. And if you're with a girl, even if they don't know like the topic that you're discussing, if you go to them and you say something that sounds interesting, they're going to be intrigued, because they just like to listen.
Because you know what that is, like the number one frequency like that makes certain people feel like really positive is enlightenment, where you actually teach someone something. I mean, I remember when I first started going on Hinge dates, I mean, this is going back probably 2 years ago now, and all I would have to talk about was business, and she'd pretty much just go dry. She wouldn't even want a conversation. We'd have awkward pauses. But yeah, I think just find out what you're interested in and just go all in. If you're not interested in music or history, don't learn about it.
Yeah.
If you're not interested in it. I used to make that mistake all the time. Like, there are certain areas in history that just because I saw like someone like Jordan Peterson talking about it, I think, okay, I need to go learn about Greek mythology or something. That doesn't interest me. Why would I learn about that? And when you find things that actually interest you, it creates a pull effect. It's like a magnet, and it actually sticks in your brain. So if you feel like you're a bit of a stupid guy, you're like unintelligent to any degree, find the things that really interested you when you were a young guy or when you were a kid, and go all in on that, and you'll find new areas of like said topic that you'd be even more interested in. That is how you become intelligent.
Yeah.
Like, really academically successful people, they choose something that they're interested in. They don't choose something they're not interested in. That's for a reason.
Yeah, and the issue is that it creates personality clones, like we say. Like, all of these subgenres then have a couple of things, like with Jordan Peterson. Personally, I never really watched any of his content, but anyone who has influenced, everyone that watches him, same thing as like the 5 people you are that surround yourself with, that you're the average of. You pick up on what their habits are, and what their hobbies are, and what they're interested in. And everyone watches these guys and consumes that content and thinks, I'm going to go and learn about mythology when I don't care, but just because this guy did. And then you end up being a personality clone where you're like, I'm so unique, no one understands me, I'm this self-improvement guy, no one gets what I'm on about. But then like a couple of other 100,000 guys who have been consuming his content have also got to learn about the bloody Minotaur or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you end up not actually having much more personality than everyone else, or much more substance. And you go to these like networking groups in person, on the internet, whatever it might be, and you realise everyone's the same guy. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I tried this as a kid and I learned about this. And it's just boring. No one wants to like talk to someone like that. You need to actually go and, like you say, find out what you do like, find out what you actually have a pull to, truly yourself, deep down in your heart, and learn about that and go for that. That's the only way you're going to become unique and interesting to anyone, let alone women. Like business, dating, networking, any of it.
I mean, that's the thing. That's the problem with the fatherless generation, like guys without dads, and it's like a very prominent issue. Like back in the day, like fathers would teach their kids something, then they'd have kids, and then they teach them something. This knowledge would be passed down in generations. Like 100 years ago, families, like you were a musician because your dad was a musician, because his dad was a musician. Things just don't work like that anymore. That's why everyone's just so boring. And I know I talk down about the whole self-improvement red pill space, but I think it certainly does have its place, because it does fill that void to a degree, because it teaches you about strength, about looking after your body, quitting things like pornography, junk food, which I think that is step one. I think even before going to the gym or doing anything like ice baths, you need to cut out the things that are keeping you stuck. That is number one, and you just start making the right decisions. But it certainly does have its place. What would be your advice for young guys, maybe 16, 17, 18, that just feel a bit disenfranchised? I mean, they're slowly getting into the self-improvement stuff, but they don't feel like they can provide any real value to the world.
I think at a young age, it's just about taking on as much information as what you can and figuring out what you like, because you're going to get to probably 21, 22 years old and realise that you still don't even know what you want to do. And so I think at a young age of like 16 to 20, it's just about taking on as much information as you can, understanding that you're not going to be able to provide value. That's completely fine, because oftentimes it is just like, I'm going to learn a bit of everything and then realise what I do and don't like, and then go from there and go harder on those things. Someone who's not feeling like they provide much value, I mean, you're young, like you're not going to be able to at that age. It's just a natural case of you've got to figure out what you like and what your pull is. That's what I would say. Because me at 18, I was in uni, had a bunch of paper on my wall, you know, like all of the Hamza stuff, all this hyper ambitious stuff that didn't come into fruition. But I think it takes that ambitious delusion to you know, keep going and realise like, no, this life is for me. I'm gonna do it. We're all gonna make it, guys. I think it takes that delusion that you need to have at a young age, and so that's the delusion that you need to just figure it all out, is what I'd say. So I think the most advantageous thing that guys can do when they're younger is be delusional, truly believe that they're going to be the best guy in the entire world, like have those crazy delusions, because that's what's going to get you through the tough times, and then just diversify your interests, diversify what you're learning, learn as much as you can about different topics, and then you're going to realise, oh, I do like this, like yourself in property, like you learn a bit about property, realise this is for you, and now you're smashing it.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes.
It's just like well and truly just about finding your pull, and I think the difference between guys like us and the people watching this video is ambition. Like no matter how many times I've been shut down by family saying I don't bother with that, I've left jobs before to like go all in on a business. Like granted, a lot of the times that weren't the best choice, but I have a different level of ambition than other people, and it doesn't matter how many times people try to shut me down for it. I mean, like, I'll go all in on anything. I literally risk this entire apartment right now to go all in for my dreams, because what is the point in life if you don't do that? But what I would also say to that, you need to find your pull, but do not mistaken like your ambition for the guy's ambition of the content you're consuming, because I mean, like, it's a point, as I said earlier, like the Russian model, just because you've seen Andrew Tate sat next to her, doesn't mean you want that.
Yeah.
So I think it really takes a bit of soul searching. Literally sit in silence. A lot of guys just sit there, whether it's listening to music in the shower or scrolling before bed. Like, I've gone for months before where my brain just doesn't shut off. Like even to the point where you sleep, like you feel like you haven't rested properly. So I really recommend just sitting in silence a bit more, you know, and just think about what you want. And when you do that, when you cut all the shit out and just sit in quiet, you will get really good ideas. You'll get that childhood imagination, and now you're an adult, you can actually put it into fruition.
Yeah, I think it does take soul searching and just figuring out what you like, because for me, I went to university in Oxford, for example, And it took me going to Oxford to realise like what that part of the world is like, and to realise that the UK isn't as fucked as what they say it is, and that there are lovely parts of the UK left in the Cotswolds and everything. And it took me going to that area to realise that's the thing, and that's what I wanted to do. And so a lot of it does come from life exposure, of just going into different environments and seeing different things and thinking, oh, that's what I want to do. The other side of life exposure is just allowing your mind to think. Because if it's not you physically being able to see things and you're stuck inside your room, the next best thing is to actually consider what is out there. Like, you can get this through content, like you can get it through movies, you can get it through TV shows, YouTube videos and whatnot, to realise what is out there. And you go, actually, I quite like the thought of that. I quite like the thought of being in Oxford. I quite like the thought of being in Croatia. I quite like the thought of being in Dubai, whatever it is. Like, you're going to have a pull to something. And if you can't get that through first-hand experience of going to those places, you can still consume content. Like, the best example for us is the James Bond stuff. Like, we watch James Bond, we think, oh, he's really cool, right? And you want part of your life to align to that.
It just clicked, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of this content out there is just fear-mongering.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's telling us that the UK is shit. I mean, we just had a walk around this lovely town and just saw these Victorian buildings, like the beautiful church I've got right next to my property. And I can just see that is not true. The only reason people are saying that is because these huge influencers are just getting paid loads of money. This kind of emotion of fear sells, it gets views, and that's why they're doing it, because that's what makes their money. And yeah, on top of that, I mean, anyone that tells you that watching movies, I mean, like, obviously you've got to limit it. Anyone that says watching movies or reading fiction is a waste of time, I mean,
They're crazy.
They're crazy. Like, the last 2 months, I've watched all the Stephen King movies. I watched The Elephant Man last night.
Yeah.
Mate, I go movie crazy. I love the James Bond films, and it just gives me so much inspiration. When you consume these kind of this new music, new pieces of art, it makes you creative. It feeds into my business. I get amazing ideas for the social media. It makes me happy as well. It just fills my life with enlightenment.
Yeah, there's a massive power in that.
I mean, like, yeah, that's just my advice for young guys. Just cut out the noise sometimes. If you cut things out like porn, social media, anything holding you back, you'd be really surprised at how switched on and wise you are. You just make such better decisions.
Yeah.
But I think that's the whole point. I mean, I've enjoyed this conversation.
It's been a good one. It's been a good one. It's been a good one, perhaps shorter than what we expected, but that means it's going to be a part 2.
Part 2. What are we going to talk about?
We can't let them know now. They've got to figure it out when it comes out.
Yeah.
Stick around, guys.
It's a secret.
It's a secret. You can't know. I'm sweating.
Thank you, boys. Like and subscribe.